Hello and welcome to Season 5 of Elo Hell's GitGud tournament, where tonight we will be watching the console part of this tournament, the Xbox Senior Division between Valor Prestige and UDG Vendetta. Welcome to NA, I will be your play-by-play caster, Belly, and with me is Hamwell for the color seat. And Hamwell, I mean, we should be getting some great games this evening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I came up casting the console scene, specifically Xbox, what we'll be watching here today. Both of these teams have players and teams that are, historically known in the Xbox scene. So I'm expecting, a lot of really good action, just, fun Overwatch, and I'm gonna be expecting some pop-off plays.
Well, I'm gonna be entirely transparent with you. Like, I'm very happy to have Hamwell with me here to guide me through console because I'm indeed primarily coming from PC. So unfortunately, I do not have the honor of knowing these teams or players that well. That doesn't mean, however, that I'm not going to have the greatest amount of fun with it. But it's definitely going to be Hamwell being
That makes it more
very much the
fun.
one able to give the better information about these players, as we would be going into the first map, which will be Lijiang Tower, usually a fan favorite, but indeed always a very interesting and fun map to get to watch.
Absolutely, and if you're no stranger to specifically the Xbox action, and a lot of the tournaments and matches that have been casted, over the past year, shout out to a lot of the console casters, Bull Skunk, Chef Billy, all those guys. You probably know that Lijiang's a popular map one for a lot of console teams. It's almost like King's Row and Lijiang. Like it's like, did you even play a match if you didn't play those two maps? And so because of that, I think we're going to see some really polished strategies on these maps, these more frequently played maps, specifically Lijiang and Kings Row. That's not to mean you won't see some cheesy or interesting strats. It's just these strats will be well rehearsed and well practiced, so we should see them executed at a pretty high level, which is going to be fun to watch. I expect to see a little bit of Sombra play, or I always get those two S DPS heroes mixed up. Expect to see a little bit of Symmetra play, I'd imagine. Variety of tank lineups can really, have value here on Lijiang, depending on which area you're in. You do have, Control Center, really benefits a lot of Brawl, a lot of stuff like that. You've got the ability to play Dive. So really, it's dealer's choice, I feel like, as far as the comps we're going to be seeing, which I really enjoy, because that gives a chance for these individual players to kind of show off their prowess, their individual hero skill, and how that kind of relates to the team aspect as a whole. So I'll be excited to see it.
I'll definitely be excited as well. It's going to be Gardens first, a very open map, so a lot of open area, open space, especially just up in the air. But it's going to be a Ryan Azaria on the side of Valor Prestige with a Doomfist and a McCree, or Lucy on the other side. We've got a bit of double shield. Indeed, the summoner that you mentioned, a McCree, but he's a Brigitte, as these teams are already going to take a bit of a fight here in the white room. It's going to be Valor Prestige who are going to be moving into the point early on. A nice flashbang onto Zames on the Sombra. It's not going to be any follow-up just yet, as UDG Vendetta are just kind of forcefully moving their way onto the point, and that is an accretion into the face of Aqua Turtle. It's gonna be the Reinhardt getting completely destroyed early on. A lot of damage coming through. UDG Vendetta picking up all of the kills, while Valor Prestige had an early positioning on the point. It's gonna be Vendetta who start to pick up the point first.
Yeah, I guess my mouth was more accurate than my brain there, because I expected Symmetra. I said I expected Sombra. It was a Sombra we received, and Zames, doing a lot, providing a lot of value on that. You have to remember Daniel Orford, a player to watch out for on the DPS side for Valor. Caught the hack early on, but ultimately it was the follow-up from Zames that I think just provided a lot of value. And now you look at, ultimates. Granted, you do have that Earthshatter coming online here shortly for Valor, but Amplification Matrix through this Tide Alley could be a huge game changer. Even pair that with the Deadeye to get some extra speed on that. Definitely a possibility we could see here.
Oh, we get synchronized shatters coming on through. Aqua Turtle does manage to get his counter Reinhardt out of the fight, however, is gonna die themselves as well. Liberty Shadow with one pick, with a second, with a nice headshot as the Amplification Matrix is on point. The graph pulling everyone together, but there's not enough follow-up. It will not garner the kills that Prestige is looking for. And with the EMP, that will be Vendetta once again coming out strong and coming out victorious for this fight. It's 60% on the counter, and Valor Prestige still looking for their way onto this point.
That was a great late ultimate in the EMP coming out from Zames. You know, it's later in a fight. Often you might be a little bit apprehensive to go ahead and pull that ult and use, you know, what is a huge ult in EMP. You know, using that at the end of the fight. But the cleanup allows just for a nice reset and allows UDG Gaming to get really back, you know, kind of into full form and take on this next fight.
This next fight already starting off with the Covidic Flux with a high noon as well. To try and counter it. The counter, however, wasn't there, but it also pulled out the Sand Bearer, which means that indeed Ghouls is gonna drop to a high noon from Liberty. But it's gonna be UDG Vendetta now starting to dwindle in numbers ever so slightly. So it's gonna be a very uphill battle to try to hold on to this. It looks like T-Carry, indeed, with those final 2 picks, will make sure that at 99%, finally Valor Prestige will get the percentage counting up for themselves.
And T-Carry did live up to name there and did pull out a bit of a carry, you know, securing a lot of kills there at the end, which ultimately that's what you need to do to go ahead and turn this point over and start getting progress going on your side. And, you know, now you can, you know, if you're Valor, you can delay fights out a little bit. Bit of a whiff on the Earth Shatter there, but fight, you know, continues. Ooh, big EMP coming out now.
Shadow indeed gun through, doesn't really find anything. And it's gonna be now a lot of very strong ultimates getting used in a row, but it's gonna be once again Valor Prestige who comes out victorious with a bit of a lower investment on the side of the ultimates, and now still a fair few very strong ones right at the ready to keep this fight going.
Yeah, that's an absolute win right now if you're Valor, because, I mean, a lot of ults, big ults were invested there on the side of UDG, and you know, Zames using that EMP, I thought it was big. It really only got the Reinhardt and the Lucio, which in and of itself could have been big. I mean, those are 2 big heroes to EMP, but, I mean, no value. Valor weathers the storm, they win the fight. And now, big ult bank on their side, and they're getting kills early on and not even, you know, really needing to invest ults to get those first picks, which is, you know, a huge thing to be looking for as far as winning that ult economy battle.
T-Carry being right at the ready to put that Graviton Surge in, waiting for a few more people to get a nice quick cleanup. Kinetic Grasp comes on out, so that means that right now at this point you kind of have a free graph to go. Application Matrix, however, comes on out. The Shatter comes down. Everyone from Vendetta on the floor, and Prestige picking up all of the kills and clearing this one out. It's 95% on the counter, and it does not look like Vendetta will be able to even get back to the point. It's gonna be a bit of a tough ask, but no. It's gonna be the Hammond that does not manage to touch in the end. Valor Prestige managed to get that full score, get that first point on the board, and with a 99-99, well, it looks like we've got a close one.
Yes, this is certainly living up to the hype. A lot of great plays from both sides there, but Valor really just demonstrating how to take control of a point. Once they finally get control, just smart, savvy ult usage. They did the thing at the very end that I feel like I scream at my comp teammates so many times, which is, you know, when the BAP lays down an amplification matrix like that, sometimes you really can just, you know, walk through it and then boom, valueless ult right there. And that's exactly what Valor does. They just push through into the white room, push right through the amplification matrix that was laid out, and that leads to, you know, a massive cleanup, because T-Carry and Aqua Turtle really just combined for a strong brawl comp there. And I mean, that's your fortress right there. That's your tank line. That really, you know, when they're playing to their strengths, that's going to allow the rest of the team to play to their strengths. And that's really what we saw there on that, you know, control hold coming out from Valor. And now they're up 1-0 because of it.
And now they're also Valor Prestige up 2 kills. As Dubstep Beast comes on out, picks up 2 and picks up a 3rd. Zames does get a trade, but that's too little too late. Valor Prestige once again control of the point early on.
Dubstep Beast really winning the Doomfist battle there between themselves and Liberty Shadow, who has now ultimately switched over to the McCree. Obviously, a counter attempt for dubsteps, and Zames taking down Daniel Orford, huge. That's a big pick early. A nice little 1v1 there for Zames.
Now with the McCree indeed out of play, you won't have that flashbang or a fair chunk of damage available anymore. As both of the Coalescents come on out to negate each other. There's still Prestige holding on to the point, and by now the reinforcements will be able to come on back. Zames is on high, will have the EMP. Does not pop it just yet. Gravitic Flux comes on out, and Dark Thanatos goes down. Liberty Shadow does come back at him, is right there to clear up all of those kills, and Vendetta will flip over the point and start getting some percentage of the run going once again.
And right now, they did that without using all of their ults, which is huge, but they are looking at a bit of an ult disadvantage. You know, you've got Dubstep Beats coming online with that Meteor Strike. Takari's not far behind on a Grav. You know, you've got the Deadeye, the Shatter, and the Sound Barrier all sitting at the ready. I would imagine Deadeye probably to come out this fight, possibly a chance to maybe herd them in for a nice Meteor Strike, but ooh. Smart EMP play by Zames, shuts that down early.
Deadeye and an EMP indeed. However, the EMP does not negate the Sound Barrier that comes on through. The Gravitic Flux comes in, and that is going to be too quick. More kills. Zames, however, gets Aqua Turtle out of the fight as well. So no Reinhardt, no big shield, but there is still Zarya available. Not that high charge just yet, but you're going to be fighting versus two supports, and Zames coming in for the hacks. Daniel is going to be right at the ready. High Noon comes in, picks up two more, and Vendetta looking to hold on to this point very strongly.
Yeah, and Vendetta really just, they kind of weathered the storm there. There was definitely more DPS and more damaging potential on the side of Prestige to ultimately kind of turn that point over. But really just smart positioning by the supports of Zundi and DPS Ana to really just stay out of position, stay outside. That allows Liberty Shadow time to get back, get in position, hits that Deadeye, cleans the fight up, and that was a huge stagger because now you're sitting at 80% where you were about even with Prestige prior to that kind of whole, you know, series of events.
Zames gets taken out. We've got a bit of an equal trade, 2 for 2, but T-Carry is going to make that a third. It is very much equal trades, but it's still Valor Prestige who are on top. But once again, it is the supports that stay alive on point. We have the Lucio from Tsunde that is just right at the ready, but Aqua Turtle will be able to pick that one up. It's now 50% for Valor Prestige as they once again flip the point, but Vendetta 99%. We've seen this before, and Prestige managed to clutch it out.
It's deja vu all over again from the first point of this map, and you know there are some big ults coming online for Vendetta, to the sense that, you know, that once they hit that 99%, they definitely were in a position where they could just give that up, you know, not invest any ults, not try to invest in a recontest. You know, you look at all this time they've spent regrouping, and it's still only 75% on the side of Prestige. So ultimately, you know, playing this very smartly, you know, pressing their advantage.
Gravitic Flux along with the High Noon. The EMP comes out as well, and that is all of the kills in favor of UDG Vendetta. A team kill, a gong rings, overtime burns down. Is it going to be a 1-1 score here on Legion Tower? We'll be moving on over to Night Market.
And that's, you know, Vendetta really proving exactly what I was talking about earlier about knowing your win conditions, knowing what you need to win this point. And, you know, they get a lot of ults, you know, ready and waiting online. They get to 99%. They, you know, either die on point or escape to regroup. And then from there, they just walk in and they all just kind of press Y with some semblance of coordination. And it's a pretty easily won fight. And that's the round, you know, so it's really awesome to see. I'm liking Zames on this Sombra. I think getting a lot of value there. The EMPs have been hit or miss at times, but ultimately Sombra's a lot like a wrecking ball, where a lot of times all you need to do is exist and you're causing problems for the enemy team. So Zames doing a really good job of that at the moment. Liberty Shadow, I'd have to say winning the McCree battle. Meanwhile, though, we've got Daniel Orford over on that Symmetra. We're finally seeing the sim strats I talked about prior to this. I'm just finally someone proving that my casting theories. That's all I needed. So, you know, shout out to Daniel Orford for helping a guy out there.
Indeed, the sim strats getting to that point faster, being able to set up. The turrets are already around the door. We've also got the Torburn from Dubstep Beats on a point and some extra turret power. to be able to just pump out some damage, and that is going to be the first kill in favor of Valor Prestige, picking up Liberty Shadow. It's gonna force Vendetta to just kind of go on back to try and regroup.
And what a difference the Symmetra makes there, honestly. You know, you get to point, this is one of those points where, you know, getting to the point first is 90% of the battle about taking the control at the beginning. It might even be 99% if we're being honest, because, you know, once you're set up there, it's so hard to break through this double choke that's almost more like a quad choke because you've got the two separate entrances at each level. So, I mean, it's a very daunting sort of position to try and push into this. And when you've got that Symmetra in Daniel Warford, it's even more difficult.
If you want to push on through and have some staying power, that Coalescence is definitely going to help. It's also going to be the Sound Barrier actually pulled out, but as Murphy is going to just get taken out early on and losing once again one player, is forcing Vendetta to just regroup and rethink their strategy. As you are indeed saying, it is such a difficult point to keep pushing in on, and you're going to need all of your players to be able to do it.
Yes, I almost think a little bit of, call it what you will, shenanigans might be in order for the side of Vendetta. You know, possibly a sim of their own, something to get a little crafty about getting some presence on this point, taking out these teleports. Because right now it's, ooh, and that'll do it.
Liberty Shadow with a triple. DPS Anna is going to be able to pick up that extra one. Dubstep Beats, however, still alive on point along with the turret, but eventually is going to get cleaned up, and even the molten floor is going to just melt away. And Vendetta finally managed to get through the point for a bit of an investment, but now you have control of the control point.
Yeah, that was really just an individual bit of carry play coming out from Liberty Shadow. Great awareness to get in, get the Deadeye off before the turrets do ultimately whittle and kill them off. But, you know, just getting that off, getting that big play is what allowed that all to happen. The cleanup was there from Vendetta, and now, you know, they have the control. That Sim's going to find a lot less value, although that Photon Barrier coming online right now is going to provide a huge boost.
Splitting off all of the points. Shatter comes on down. Aqua Turtle takes out Smurfy X. That's gonna be one player already gone, one shield already gone. However, Vendetta picking up 2 kills of their own. There's gonna be another grab. His shield, however, denying a fair chunk of damage from the turret. But T-Carry is gonna just walk past the shield and burn down the Sigma. It'll be Valor Prestige once again grabbing control of the point. And we're now in last fight territory. We're already seeing Cosmic going over to the Hammond to just even have a chance to try and recontest.
Yeah, it has to be done at this point, and a great job by Prestige of, you know, being smart with their ultimates. They still have ults in the bank for this final fight. Not that they're needing them. Takari's starting it off huge.
2 kills for the Zarya, the Coalescence to pick up a third, and even the Sound Barrier is not going to be enough to try and keep holding onto this point, especially as the Molten Core comes down. It's so much damage, just melting the players away. Overtime Wick burns down as fast as the players do. That will be Valor Prestige picking up their second round on Lijiang Tower and the victory in their first map.
Well, this was a super close, just map 1. I imagine we're going to see more of the same throughout this series. There could be a chance. You know, momentum is everything, and at these higher ranks, you know, a lot of times the skill, the planning, the coordination, it's all there equally for both teams, and momentum, you know, is a powerful thing. It can be the X factor, basically, that can be the difference between victory and defeat, and now that's on the side of Prestige. So the question is going to be, can Vendetta rally back? You know, they definitely had some great plays. Can they rally back and you know, tie this series up and get a little bit more of the momentum in their favor?
Something to be waiting out for the next round. However, before we get into the next round, we are going to be taking a short break, but we won't be that long, so make sure you stick around. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Hello, and once again, welcome back to the Season 5 of Elo Hell's GitGud tournament, where we are still on the Xbox Senior Series, Vendetta versus Prestige. And as we move on to the wonderful Italian map of Rialto, the beautiful rivers that we get to watch, the sunny weather, which over here is admittedly way too warm where I am. However, That being said, we've had a very close first map on Legion Tower. Now moving on over to Rialto, where we move from a very static objective to a dynamic objective, and this is going to be most likely really be changing around how these players are gonna have to be thinking about their play. What would you expect of this, as especially seeing as I'm already seeing a Fire Mercy coming out, which can be a very strong pick here.
I think it poses a lot of problems for the attack. First off, going over this bridge, a lot of environmental possibilities there. But the alleyways, they provide such nice cover for Alucard to really get a ton of value on the Pharah. You have the farm, the Mercy backing them up as well. There is a lot of shields to get through, and that will help with shield break too if played the right way. So I think we see a lot of multifaceted value from that Pharah here early on.
A nice hold that already happens here. The Pharah is still pumping out damage from on high. Immortality Field has been used. It's 25 seconds that you will not get that damage denial. And that will be Dubstep's Beats getting that early pick onto Zames. The Sombra not available anymore, and neither is the Orisa. And Prestige is just walking forward, getting all of this damage done. Vendetta just kind of having to pull back to just keep a few members left.
Yes, and we're really seeing the benefits of this Rhine Sigma tank line kind of formation. That it's really, I'm not sure how much it's taken hold on PC yet, but in the console scene, it is a very primarily used tank lineup. And for this very reason, you have double shields and the ability to brawl and be aggressive. And really, we're just finding it, it's difficult for Vendetta to find kind of a chance to equal that out. Obviously, they've gone to the mirror now, but you see now they're lacking in ults.
I mean, Prestige is equaling out Vendetta with the ground. As the shatter comes on through, everyone is on the floor. We got Alucard just trying to do some extra damage. However, the damage has been done. Payload has been captured for the first checkpoint. And the Fire Mercy is just still trying to get out.
Yep, and that's going to be a huge stagger coming out. Coalescence, I mean, it's a quickly gained ultimate, so ultimately, to secure the stagger to get your Mercy like that, I mean, it's definitely worth it. I would say you do have Sound Barrier coming online along with a Graviton Flux from Takari. This Widow ultimate will be providing a ton of value here, going through these alleyways, getting a feel of the positioning of the defense, and we're seeing
Barrage coming on through, Alucard picking up the Widow, so there's no contest for the Pharah anymore. And DPS Ana is also back to provide that extra healing and damage boost. So this will be Vendetta now stalling out Prestige at the second corner of the second phase.
And we could possibly, after some ults coming out from Dubstep Beats, I could expect to see a DPS switch up to possibly do a little more to counter this Pharah actively as you're going around the corners, getting ahead of the payload. Ooh, a nice Hanzo ult coming out.
Well, Immortality Field even better, denying all the damage. However, that does leave you at very low health. A Molten Core coming on out. The Sigma just trying to tread lightly, but is going to make it out with their life. Deepest Ana is going to be denied the res. The Pharah now behind shoots a rocket into a Rhine shield that will be taking out the aerial hero for Vendetta. Shatter comes in to secure those final few kills. Immortality Field once again on the floor as Amplification Matrix comes on down. Sound Barrier gets invested to just keep that front line alive. It's a Coalescence as well. Now we've got a trade. A Batiste for a Reinhardt. That's a lot of healing that you're going to be taking out. However, the res is there, so Vendetta will be able to once again hold off Prestige.
And Sunday really was the carry there, I feel like, on that defense coming out from Vendetta. That Immortality Field, if it doesn't save Cosmic there, that fight goes entirely different, because you see Immortality comes out, Cosmic gets topped off, hits the Flux, that knocks Rhine to one, Zames is able to clean that up, and that's just a domino effect. It all starts with that Immortality getting, there just in time after it was a free shatter for Aqua Turtle. Hit the charge really nicely on Sigma, it all looked good.
Well, the Barrage comes on through, finds one kill, and not a small one. The Mora down. There's a lot of healing now denied as Ghouls is not in the fight anymore, and Valor Prestige recognize this, pull back to try and regroup, but Vendetta is just trying to get those late picks, trying to get those staggers. Will not manage to find him just yet as Prestige comes on back. Now with the reinforcements from the Mora coming on through, Having got a chunk of healing, but once again that early pick, Daniel or Ford taken out by the Hanzo arrow, and once again Valor Prestige is forced back.
And I think this was a really smart switch by Alucard onto the Reaper. Not a lot of value there in that first fight, but it's one of those things where the awareness that you're playing against a Reaper and the, how you have to adjust your play style. I think that opened up a lot of stuff for Zames there to get that early pick onto Daniel Orford. And, it's such a hard defense to break here on this corner because you have, so many ways to defend it and so many ways to, hold this choke. And we're seeing it here that, this high ground breakthrough is more than likely the way they need to go. But Alucard chilling in the back line as the Reaper. He does get to one, he gets out. But just a lot of good ults about to come online.
He swapped off from the Pharah as the Gravitic Flux comes on out. A lot of damage coming in along with that Dragon. There's going to be 3 early picks here for Vendetta to clear this fight out once again. We hear the announcer saying that 60 seconds are left. Valor Prestige still have a hefty fight to go, but they've got a lot of tools that they're ready to get it.
Yeah, and Vendetta, they've done a good job managing those. They're not going to be completely defenseless coming up this fence, but the ult advantage is surely on the side of Prestige at the moment. That Graviton Flux, combine that with the Molten Core to, kind of come back down on it. Allows dubstep beats a lot of time to set that up while, still doing damage. Coalescence, I mean, there's a nice combo here that could come out that'll allow Prestige to break this open.
Gonna be the Gravitic Flux, and the Talent Field keeps everyone alive. Shatter drops, but so does nobody else. Both of the Shadows come down, both of them get blocked. The charge does not find anything, however, the Torbjorn does. As now the DPS from Prestige pick up 2 kills, pick up a 3rd. We've got the Bob on point. Less than 5 seconds left, however, the payload will move forward, putting that timer at 1.5 minutes. And Valor Prestige are not done just yet.
And ultimately, that was just a battle of the team with the most ults won. Because, it was a great defense coming out early on from Vendetta. Shutting down the Flux Molten Core combo, a really nice Immortality Field coming out from Sunday, along with just some overall defensive play that really mitigated a lot of that. And then from there, just more ults from Prestige, and they managed to run through. But ultimately, still some good defense coming out from Vendetta, and a chance to, possibly hold this from a full cap.
And now with the Dragon and Death Blossom, that is going to be Prestige getting forced back. 50 seconds left, so you're not going to have many fights to go. 1, and if you really manage to press the stagger fight, 2, but a difficult one to get any further. They do have a sound barrier, however.
The sound barrier is going to be huge because it's going to need to facilitate the rest of Prestige to get their ults to ultimately make this fight last a little bit longer. Because at this point, you are looking at a 1 full fight territory, so you want to try and make that count as much as you can. You want to try and use any ultimates you have here, especially if you're attacking.
Gravitic Flux comes on out, sound barrier gets pulled as well. To make sure that everyone stays alive with those 2 early picks for Prestige. Looks like they are not stopping just yet. Vendetta dropping left, right, and center 1 by 1. A late pick onto Alucard. We also have a Cosmic dropping a bit low, manages to get healed up. Having to use that kinetic grab. Shatter comes in, puts 2 people on the floor, but now the Molten Core on the ground. The Bob as well, so much damage coming on through, and even with overtime burning down, Valor Prestige looking like they still will be getting that full push.
And honestly, the hero choices for Valor Prestige, it's like all of a sudden, there was some question, as switches were made, do you switch to try and counter those defensive picks that Vendetta are making? But ultimately, when we got into this final room, you see the Bob come out, you see the Molten Core come out, and the Coalescence, and all of those ults just combined for just such oppressive, AoE, coordinated aimed damages that go through shields. I mean, it's just a trifecta, a trident spear, if you will, of damage that really just helps Prestige run through that final segment. And I mean, that pretty much is the only reason they were able to cap that, was those 3 ults just really dominating.
I do apologize. Hi, there we are again. I knew for a fact that at least one time this would happen.
I'm just lucky it hasn't happened to me yet. Like, I'm surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
it is NA times for me, which means that I get to enjoy this for a bit longer. But indeed, it is Rialto. It is that final overtime push that you still get, but that is that last point that can be so notoriously difficult to still full push. There's a fair few areas where you can, but now as we indeed flip the tables, UDG Vendetta have to go for their attack, and a la carte once again on that Reaper. It's been finding them a fair bit of value, especially late in this Rialto map.
Absolutely, I think it was a nice switch up from the Pharah. You're able to be creative with your flanks. You're not as dependent on having a healer dedicated to you, which is allowing DPS Ana to switch over to the Brig, provide a little bit more value to the rest of the team. And I think all in all, that just kind of benefits the brawlier style that Vendetta are trying to play right now. You know, you've got the double shield, you've got Orisa to kind of set up control on the point, and Ryan to go be aggressive at times when needed, and you know, all of this could combine for a pretty strong attack from Vendetta.
Well, already a fair bit of space has been given up. That first corner, at the very least, is not where Prestige wants to take the defense. However, the second corner is where they're going to be bunkering down. Alucard in the back line, trying to get some damage done, but for that you need to get close with those Hellfire shotguns. It's going to be the Reaper taken out, and so will be Zayton. So this is a lot of damage still coming on through, and Prestige will hold on to this defense for now.
And Alucard's going to have to be a little bit more crafty to make that strat stick. You see, you know, Dog and Dubstep really combining there in that backline to shut down the Reaper play, which ultimately that allows, you know, without the threat of the Reaper, that allows the rest of the team to collapse on the main group of Vendetta, and it's kind of over from there. You know, Torbjorn, while a strong DPS, doesn't really have the ability to stave off that sort of onslaught. And
yeah.
Possible misstep there coming in from Alucard.
It's an unfortunate misstep. It's gonna burn off a little extra time off the clock.
And that's unfortunate. It's this first stint, it's so notorious for being full held, and you're just taking time off the clock now. I almost expected a switch, as if that was some sort of strategized thing, but there's so many ults online for the defense of Prestige right now. Oh, and they boot Bob back behind the amplification matrix.
So many shiny buttons and so many, so little getting used actually, which is huge for your ultimate economy. And a fair few quick kills here for Valor Prestige, and still a lot of tools in the bank to hold on to their defense. And UDG Vendetta have got a fair chunk of a fight ahead of them still.
Dang, that I'm still reeling over the whip shot, which I'm assuming that's what it was. That's the only thing I could see that could boop like that. But the whip shot knocking Bob back into the amplification matrix, knocking him out of the molten core, is just a unfortunate sort of misstep there coming in. And now, like you said, only a few ults used in the defense of Prestige. They've got this kind of locked down at the moment.
Amplification matrix has already come down, molten core as well. And Prestige just pushing back, even if Vendetta have got a plan, have got a fight that they want to take. Prestige still had a lot of resources ready to hold on to that fight, halt pulling everyone from Prestige together. However, there's another bomb already for Daniel for the Ash of Prestige. He's going to be able to get that extra damage done. Aquaturtle also has the Shatter. Bob comes in, however, there is a Pharah now up in the air. Bob's gonna get focused down quickly, so that seventh hero on the board is not going to be able to provide you with that much extra help. Supercharger now on the floor. That's a whole chunk of extra damage coming on through. It's gonna be difficult to really keep contesting. This is 30 seconds on the clock. Payload is just over a meter from getting captured. It's 0.1. And it is Prestige just really wanting to get this full hold on the first point. The flank shatter does not come through. Both of the Reinhardts are on the floor. Immortality field is there for Vendetta, and that's going to be 3 kills for the attacking team in blue, and the payload capture.
That was a huge amplification matrix to really seal that fight coming out from Sunday. Making a lot of great plays so far this map. Definitely someone that I keep coming back to just from excellent support play. But, you know, all in all, just much better play coming out there for Vendetta. And they're rewarded by kind of being on the upper hand finally in ult economy. They got 2 strong DPS ults that in and of themselves can provide a ton of value. If Cosmic can combine that halt with Hanzo's ult, that can provide a ton of value as well. But, you know, this is finally looking to be, you know, the momentum shifting in this attack to the attackers in Vendetta. You know, the ball's rolling now, and, you know, some good ults here could really keep the momentum flowing.
got a Lockhart in the back, hovering around with the Barrage. Dragon comes through, however, the Shatter with the Molten Core has already done the damage. 2 kills, both of the supports for Vendetta are gone, and as the Reinhardt drops as well, that will be a quick reset for Vendetta, 1 minute and 30 seconds approximately on the clock, but I've already spotted a Lockhart trying to get that backline and Barrage going, and got upstep beats, keeping a lookout for the Pharah.
Yeah, and Alucard, you know, really the only ult online right now for the attackers in Vendetta. No ults on the side of the defense with Prestige either. So really, this barrage could be a game changer if executed properly. It could get the right value and allow to push through this difficult choke that Vendetta now find themselves in.
Daniel's got the Bob up, and now there's going to be a supercharger coming up soon. However, Dark Thanatos is not going to be available. Bob comes out. The one player has already been taken, so now I've got a 5v6 situation, and Prestige recognize this, pull back, take a safer positioning, and look for an angle where Alucard cannot really come suddenly careening down from. A lot more extra damage is coming on through. Valor Prestige just going forward. Alucard is hovering behind, is spotted out, but will that be enough? No, that is where the barrage comes in. Both of the support for the defense are down. The damage has been done. Dragon comes on through, and even with 1 turret on main, that will be the payload moving forward. That's 1 minute and 50 seconds now on the clock. Just ever so slightly more than Prestige had on their attack. Vendetta keeps moving forward.
That was very, just smart ult usage, both sides coming out from these teams. You see that, still only a few ults were used in that defense. It was given up pretty quickly by Prestige. They've now reset. They're in a much better position to hold here for this final stint with only 1 minute and 20 on the clock. But Vendetta, they only use their 2 DPS ults. They've got tank ults. They've got a amplification matrix online, which the amplification matrix coming through right here at this choke. Really, if Ryan gets up into that, that could break this wide open. But that's a huge shatter.
Gonna be a big break with everyone once again on the floor. The Earth Shatter from Aqua Turtle just landing time and time again, getting Prestige that nice team kill. Gong, nice team kill on the counter.
And that's such a huge time burner as well, coming out for Prestige. They used, or excuse me, I've got that backwards. Prestige on the defense, Vendetta on the attack. But Prestige, they did use a few ults there. They were smartly keeping their Molten Core online. Ooh, that's gonna, even as I said that, a bit of a caster curse. That might have came out a little prematurely there. But it has forced Vendetta into this choke now.
Well, there's 2 ultimates that have gotten used. We've got the Amplification Matrix and Multicore both gone. Valor Prestige now with nothing on the board. UDG Vendetta with a lot on the board. 3 ultimates already out of 4th coming up. Shatter comes down. Cosmic is taken out. No supercharger available. That's one you will not be getting back. And Dragon straight through the middle. Takes out Dark Thanatos. That is a fair bit of healing already gone. That was a rally as well, right at the ready. It's going to be overtime. There's still a bit of distance to go, as the turret is just pumping out some damage from the side. Finally gets taken out now with the Hammond back to just be able to get the recontest. Rally comes on in. However, Alucard with the tower. This could be devastating. Immortality Field has come down. Tower comes in, takes down Gold. That's a lot of healing taken out. The chunks of healing now gone is going to be devastating for the defense of Prestige. Immortality Field from Tunda also gone. The Shatter does not find anything, and even the charging Reinhardt will get taken out. It's 1 Bob now with just those stagger picks coming on out. Molten Core is on the floor. Lucio will be coming back. The damage is coming on through, but it's not enough, and even UDG Vendetta will eventually get the full push going.
I really thought that Molten Core from Dubstep Beast was going to clinch that fight up. Fortunately, a little bit of, call it the blind spot on that payload was left uncovered, and that gave, I think it was Smurfix on Reinhardt, gave him just enough space, able to get topped off by DPS on the brig. And from there, just allows that positioning to be maintained because, all important. We've seen a lot of, C9 appearances there in that final stint of Rialto. So great awareness coming out from Vendetta, able to keep themselves in this both rounds, both sides having a minute. Both teams demonstrated some prowess holding here and in this first stage. So really, I imagine both teams can get to like that final choke right before the point, but it might be the difference of who can kind of push it over that threshold. But it's going to be very interesting to see. Uh, Still interesting, the wrecking ball still being maintained on defense. That's a bit of a surprise coming out from Cosmic there. Alucard over to the Junkrat. I think that could provide a lot of value here in these alleys as far as ricocheting your bombs off of walls, getting cool positions, little quirky things like that. McCree Torbjorn coming out on the side of Prestige. That's very interesting. Of course, running the double shield with the Rhinorisa. So it's going to really rely. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I would say potentially expecting something like FR to maybe come out. However, that is not going to be the case. Alucard is on the Junkrat. So a lot of damage coming on out, but not necessarily from the skies. Indeed, the Hammond coming on in for a bit of a pal drive, but we've got Alucard just on the high ground, being able to just get those grenades on out. However, Dark Anatos is going to take that chunk damage off the board. As the Lucio just gets that initial kill, that is the green light for Valor Prestige to move on forward, and aggress they do. Payload continuing as well now past that first corner, and you're now going to be in this open space, and this is not going to be very much where you want to be playing as a Reinhardt, as a Prestige just kind of just coalesce the Vendetta team completely into this next point, where they're going to be waiting for the reinforcements to come back, Amwell.
Yeah, and they're doing smart to kind of hold here and utilize the distance of the contestation circles. But my brain was just broken trying to figure out what the kind of premise and synergy of these comps were, and I'm just chalking it up to comfort at this point. And that's
that is a 3-man sire from Alucard coming out through the back. Supercharger is on the floor. Daniel has picked up 2 kills, and Alucard is also gone. Will not be able to chunk out more damage either. That is a massive play. However, that is the 3rd kill now, also in favor for Prestige. We still have an equal fight. However, the reinforcements can come on through. The Torbjorn turret is still doing damage. The Shatter comes down. However, Doc Thanatos coming back just in time with the sound barrier to keep everyone from Prestige alive. UDG Vendetta has the spot advantage, but Prestige has been getting the kills. There's the dial for the Hammond. However, Daniel Ford gets taken out. The damage seems to once again have been done. So many kills in favor of Prestige. It is one Hammond from Cosmic trying to stay alive on point, trying to just swing around, but there's no space. That will be at the very least 1 point captured, and Vendetta having to figure out how to get the next defense going.
That was just fantastic solidarity coming out from Prestige. They weathered the storm. They were very smart about knowing when they were in the advantage of the fight and when they weren't. And when they weren't in the advantage, they were really doing an excellent job of staggering out their contests, really making Vendetta work for it on the defense. And I mean, even weathering the storm that was that massive rip tire coming out from Alucard. I mean, just really phenomenal. It's got to be great comms overall, probably in the Valor Prestige camp at the moment.
And now mimicking something akin to Jack Sparrow, having the pirate ship going, the Bastion on the payload. Moving on forward, even Cosmic on the Hammond cannot move the stationary Bastion off the point. Pile drive comes in, everyone's on in the air. Another tower comes on through, 2 kills, both tanks down. Tower is there, picks up the Bastion. Overtime Wick will burn down extremely fast as soon as all of the feet are off the payload. So nobody of Prestige can, or you're gonna need someone from Prestige on the payload at all times. Supercharger comes on down. Aqua Turtle gets another pick onto Alucard. Zanes tries to turn it around. The Mora is gone. Main healer is taken out, and that will be indeed too many people off the point. But a massive push for Valor Prestige.
That's a huge push for just a minute. I mean, as I talked about before, this attack, I mean, it is very easy to get stalled out on that first stage. So to get it past there, to be right there knocking on the door of the second checkpoint is definitely a formidable attack to have to try and duplicate here if you're Vendetta. That being said, we saw the explosivity of their ultimates. They definitely have some excellent ult timing. Individually, they're getting a ton of value off their ults. But I think so far the difference has really been the kind of coordinated effect of Valor Prestige. At the very end there, it really boiled down to, Vendetta had more ultimates online and coming online that were ultimately great for zoning off of the point. But the point of the matter is that they were using those ults pretty much at the beginning on the first stage, and Prestige was still able to push through. So ultimately, I think it's a bit more about the overall coordination that Prestige is using with their ultimates at the moment that might be giving them the slight advantage. That remains to be seen, though.
This is a very good fight indeed that Valor Prestige managed to do. A very good control, very good communication for, as far as I could tell. Like, just staying alive on that choke point was massive. And now it's going to be a setup with double shield. And once again, this Bastion coming on out. That's going to be a lot of damage coming in. And it's going to also make it a bit more difficult for the Valor to just roam free. So this is going to be the first one that drops. No Immortality Field, no big amounts of healing. Zames, though, also takes Dark Thanatos out. However, Ghouls is on the Ana. There's still a fair bit of healing that is available for the defense. Alucard from on high, as I say that, takes that second support out. Also takes those tanks out. And that will be Vendetta moving forward through this initial choke. Prestige still have a defense that they can set up.
And ultimately, that was a smart positioning. If you're going to be running the, some may call it cheesy, lineup of the Torb and the Bastion, setting up there early, taking the fight early so that you're able to regroup, make switches if you need it, as we see Daniel Warford switch over to the Ashe. That allows you to hit a fight here, and as you see now, overtime's just now beginning to start. This is the only fight that really matters winning from here on out. All the other fights you can lose, as long as you win the fights that count.
This one very much counts. Barrage takes T carry out. Nanofort, however, takes out DPS Ana, so no mercy for the damage boost, no mercy for the healing. As the Tsunde takes out the Turbine as well. Amplification Matrix drops down. A lot of damage potential coming in out. Davidic Flux comes in along with the Dragon. Finds a few picks, finds a few stagger picks. Ghouls takes the Pharah out, but it does look like Vendetta will be able to keep pushing this payload forward.
Absolutely, and that was just strong play coming out from all sides on Vendetta. Really doing a good job isolating players, taking the fight to Prestige, which allowed them to kind of struggle at doing what we saw them do so well on their attack, which was, when they're in the losing side of the fight, staggering out their contests and doing stuff like that. By being more aggressive, they're really negating a lot of that ability, especially on defense, because you have to stay, somewhat near the point, here at this point when you're in the fight, because you've ultimately got to try and make a stand before it turns this corner. It's going to become a lot harder if they manage to get through this corner, but it looks like Prestige will be letting off, and that's exactly what they're going to let them do.
Vendetta has got a few ultimates at the ready. Valor Prestige coming up to a fair few big ones of their own. Daniel already gets taken out. Shadow does not land, gets denied, but Amplification Matrix is providing that extra damage to come on out. Molten Core comes in. Dragon splits off the Orisa in the backline. It's going to be the Hanzo picking up the kill there. Immortality Field down for both of the teams. But Vendetta picking up kill after kill. Also picking up that Immortality Field. I've just got a whole chunk of healing on this Reinhardt to try and stay alive. But there's no contest for in the air. Ghoul goes down. Bob is on the point. Amplification Matrix right around the corner just to keep this tank going. As the blue window for Vendetta comes on out as well. Davidic Flux pulling everyone up. Be enough to do the damage. That picks up 2 more kills. Payload still moving forward. Barrage in the back. Picks up 1, picks up a second. And just 1 Baptiste will not be enough to hold on to this point. And Vendetta will come out with the victory.
I am absolutely reeling. That was phenomenal. The attack coming out from Vendetta. I'm just like I said, I'm reeling. It was so just well timed. The right ultimates came online. You saw a great barrage coming out. But honestly, I think the big difference maker so far has been Sunday on the support. You're seeing a lot of great Immortality Field placements that are ultimately leading to the right level sustain to keep Vendetta in these fights. We saw a prime example of it there. It allows the main group of the team to stay alive. That allows Alucard time to, get in position, doesn't have to, begin, attacking prematurely, able to get in position, get as much value as possible from the barrage, you're going to go down in that scenario. But it's about taking as many with you as you can, and that's ultimately what Alucard does, and it's a lot in thanks to the Baptiste play coming out from Sunday.
I mean, we most likely did not see the end of game cards on stream. However, I do want to indeed point out that I'm pretty sure it was Tsunde, the Batiste for Vendetta, coming
Yes.
out with approximately 40,000 healing done for the team. Like, those are some mental numbers to try and keep your team alive. But indeed, some great play from both of these teams. We've now got a 1-1 score on our hands between these teams. And as we kind of already expected from Lijiang Tower, this is gonna be a close one, and this is gonna be a long one.
It absolutely is. I think we are definitely in for a 3-2. I think it could come down to a 99, a 1-to-1, 99%, 99% scenario where it's literally 1% difference between these two teams. That's at least how the play's going so far, 2 maps in.
Indeed, 2 maps in. It is a best of, it is a first to 3, so we still have at the very least 2 more maps to go. But from what I hear, is it's going to be King's Row next. Um,
You love to see
and
it.
I mean, I do. A part of the community starting to get a bit tired of it because
Aw.
most tournaments and everything, you tend to see scrims row, as a lot of the teams also enjoy calling it.
Mhm. Is it? Do you
Team,
even scrim if you don't play scrims row? I mean, is it even a scrim?
I mean, exactly. You need to be playing on this map, and as by nature a Rhine main, Rhine/Zarya main, like that is home base. I
Hmm.
do also apologize for the weird noises in the background. My cat seems to have gotten ADHD fit. So if you hear anything of that, apologies. Um, that being said, indeed, Scrims Row, very close quarters, a completely different vibe and completely different playstyle. Usually, what comes out on this map, because it is so close quarters, is one of those a few maps that is so tight knit. So, what would you expect from the teams to come on out there?
Well, I hate to think that we're going to see double shield on Kings Row. That just seems, almost shameful, should we say? If it was me personally, I want to see Ryan Zarya. I want to see brawl comps.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few maps where I feel like I really do enjoy seeing, May in those brawl comps because I think, the craftiness of using the May walls on those chokes. I mean, there's a reason it's Scrims Row because it's really good to practice against May comps and with May comps here in this area because May provides a ton of value, whether you're talking about the point or as you get into the alleyway section of the map. I mean, just a ton of value. So it's one of those things where I'm not mad if I see a May here on Kings Row. I know that's probably not a very popular opinion, but it's one of those things. Brawl, Ryan Zarya. I want to see it. May Reaper, May Cree. Bring out Lucio's kind of falling out of the meta. Maybe bring in some Lucio Ana, Nano Reinhardt on King's Row. Name a more iconic, I guess, what trio? You've got Ryan, Ana, and King's Row. So yeah, trio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a trio. And from what I can tell, Ruby agrees. She's very much happy to get to see some brawl comps. Pretty sure if you throw her in the map right now, it would be a 5 minute time back left at the speed as she is going. Um,
Well, see, that
but
just means we've hit Overwatch League level. I mean, they've
exactly,
got
exactly.
their cats running around too. I mean, we've hit
Overwatch
it.
League has got Nori, Elo Hell's got Ruby, and
There we go.
exactly. Yeah, I vote
That's
for Ruby as Elo Hell mascot. We'll have her on cam soon, as soon as she stops drop kicking my chairs. Um, this okay. This is why I adore casting. All of this stuff just happens, and you just kind of roll with it.
just
And
roll
then
with it. I
suddenly you
mean,
got a midnight hyperactive cat. So, uh,
I'm lucky my
brawl
dog
comes.
hasn't
Brawl
made an
comes.
appearance.
Brawl comes definitely something very strong on Kings Row. Those I mean, this is also like in the age old time of the goats meta, where Kings Row was the goats map. Like, if there's any map where you can run goats on, which was at one point every map, but if there's any map that you can run it on, it is Kings Row, because the goal of the composition is to stay together and to just run over the other team. So brawl comes. I love seeing the brawl comes come out. I love seeing those chunk damage come out, and seeing that Ryan Zarya combo just being enabled to roll over the enemy team, and those Reinhardt mind games of who's going to hit the shatter. Like, I love seeing that coming on out.
I play a lot of main tank in teams in the past, and it's something I coined. Instead of mind games, I call them the Rhine games, because that's literally the name of the game when you're playing Reinhardt, is getting into your opponent's head, and that's why you see the kind of persona of alpha tank players and alpha Reinhardts, and that's where it comes from, is because you've kind of got to get into the brain, and in doing so, get into the face of your enemy Reinhardt, and that's how assert dominance, because that's how you win as Reinhardt. You have to assert your dominance. So, the Rhine games, hopefully we'll see those in full effect. Praying we don't see double shield on my favorite map, but who knows? Both these teams are trying to win, and that has been kind of perceived to be a bit of the meta as of late. So, we
Mhm.
could see it.
As a Ryan main myself, indeed, as well, as I mentioned earlier, like it is.
I knew I
If you
liked
if
you.
if 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 you hit that first shatter, um, then like, okay, this is pretty okay. The enemy Ryan is like, well, okay, I got hit by a shatter. If you hit the second shatter, it's gonna be like, this other Ryan is kind of doing well. If you hit that third shatter, you've broken the enemy Ryan.
That's
You've
so
broken
true.
that's like, at that point, like, you've got him at the tip of your fingers, and you can do whatever you want at that
You're
point.
in their head at that point.
You
You're
are in
right.
their head, and that is the goal, to make sure that that doesn't happen, and that makes it so fun to say those right matchups. However, it's looking like we're not necessarily going to be seeing the right matchup. We've got a double shield coming out here from the side of Aqua Turtle, from Vendetta. On the other side, for Prestige, we naturally don't know because it's the attacker side. But double shield, no Reinhardt. How would you rate this matchup?
Well, I think for attack, I think the Reinhardt provides a lot more value for pushing through that choke. But double shield coming out from Prestige on the defense at the moment, that is going to be set up to try and do damage before the Reinhardt can get in position to do his damage. So that's going to be the real deciding factor in between these two tank comps, is can Smurfx, which I'm probably butchering that name, can they get in position to do their damage before getting whittled down by that double tank lineup and that sort of poke composition that's coming out from Prestige.
Daniel managed to do more damage here early on, takes out Zane, so a lot of bird damage from the Hanzo that will get denied. It is still Prestige that kind of wants to take this fight. We've got Smurfx indeed kind of just going out into the open, taking some damage to the shield. The shield dropping mighty low, seeing those cracks coming on through. However, now the Sames comes back, finds a nice storm arrow to the head of Aqua Turtle. One of the shields is now down, and that Sigma shield does not have the same amount of health as it had at the start. It's going to be forcing a reposition from Vendetta. Immortality Field also has gotten taken out. Valor Prestige picking up 2 ticks, looking to get that third one by way of force. The Bob comes in, but does not manage to touch point. Valor Prestige has picked up point A.
And that is actually, I believe that's actually Vendetta on point A, attacking right now. And we've actually got Prestige in the blue, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm pick one player from each side, and Daniel Warford plays for Prestige, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we've got that.
Yes, it does say that those team
Okay,
names are
good.
the
I
right way around,
wanted to make sure I wasn't
good call.
losing my mind, because that happens very frequently, as you saw in Rialto when they ran those strange comps, and I was just like, oh. But that was the most, I'm gonna call it, tactical attack and point A take there, because there wasn't a lot, there wasn't a clear victory. Both teams just kind of were trying to feel each other out, and ultimately the positioning led to Vendetta taking control, and now they're kind of just rolling through.
They're taking even more controls. They're just running through Prestige at the moment. A lot of ultimates used by the defense to just try and keep a hold off of this corner. Ghouls also swapping off of the Brigitte to go to the Mora, so one more ultimate to lose. Vendetta, 4 shiny buttons that are ready to take one more fight.
Yes, and I mean, the attack is, they've got the ultimates, you know, they've really got a huge snowball potential here. The supercharger will provide a bit of a kickback. Oh, and that's a huge pick from Daniel Warford onto Liberty Shadow as he hit that Deadeye.
McCree down. Amplification matrix comes on out. The fire strike goes through. Does not find that much damage, but Zames does the Hanzo from Vendetta, doing all of the damage needed. Smurfy X is gonna get taken out, but no, Zames with 2 more picks up a 3rd. The Hanzo is running amok, and this DPS is showing what they're worth.
If I'm not mistaken, Hanzo just received some buffs in a recent patch, and I think we're seeing it firsthand here today. I mean, Daniel Orford and Zames both getting a ton of value. You saw, you know, Orford hitting that dead-eyed McCree of Liberty Shadow, who had the amplification matrix. Like, that was fixing to be a very big play coming out from Liberty Shadow, and Orford shuts that down. Then you see Zames pop off. You see both of them in the kill feed right now with a couple of headshots. I mean, I think they put Hanzo back in a good place, or at least these players do.
Quite a strong place. Dubstep Beats picks up 2 more, saying, hold on, there's not only a Hanzo, there's a Torbjorn here as well. I'm doing work, and he's definitely doing work here. Valor Prestige is still holding on to this point as well, also having a T carry with a high charge Zarya, so now in a very good position to hold on to this defense.
Yeah, and that was both teams really kind of still in the ult building phase of their respective attack and defense. And so really good job by Valor Prestige to, you know, ultimately win out the ultless fight. That's a strong indicator team-wise, and you see them now as the ults are coming online, the picks are continuing to come in, and that's just helping them build an ult advantage. Ooh, and that's
Shatter
huge.
comes in. Daniel Ford already picking up 2, but indeed the Shatter does not land. And Valor Prestige now, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of shiny buttons available for Vendetta. This is now flip all the way around. Valor Prestige just all of the ultimates that they're ready to take whatever fight they want.
And now they can play this very smart. They can portion out their ults. They can plan this accordingly, assuming their ult tracking is up to par. They have some semblance of what they're up against on the other side. So we could see some really smart defense coming out here.
That's a grab, that's a dragon, that's an immortality field denied. However, the Liberty Shadow that actually picks up a kill. That's the beats with the third kill onto Cosmic. But we still have an equal trade. Zames putting out the dragon, forcing Valor Prestige back. Still a few tools at the ready. We've got the coalescence, we've got a sound barrier. Vendetta's not really got anything. Liberty Shadow is going to be trying to build up that tire. We've seen how much damage a Junkrat can do, but Vendetta just pulling back and giving up some space.
And really what I noticed most about what Junkrat is doing there is he is just ensuring that no one on the side of Valor Prestige is ever at full health. Like, I was just watching the health bars of each respective player, and it was just like never at 1 second were any of them topped off. And that provides, when you've got a Hanzo like Zames that's hitting as many shots as they have been already here on King's Row, that really just means that you're setting yourself up to really get some big double and triple kills, which can really break your attack. You know, you can break the attack wide open. So I think the Junkrat, very smart play here. It might be just what they need to sort of break through this massive ult advantage that Valor Prestige currently has on the defense.
Coalescence comes out, and with a Zarya bubble is gonna be Aqua Turtle just pushing out forward. Vendetta once again giving up space. You do still have a bit of time, minute and 30 on the clock, as they're just trying to build up ultimates to take an advantageous fight. Regrouping, having everyone left and ready. Tuna taking a fair chunk of damage, managing to get that healed up, get that armor pack from the Brigida. Gonna have to take an initiation. That's gonna be the dragon. That zones off Aqua Turtle away from the team. Molten Core, however, comes on out. We hear the tire to the side. Has to be exploded early just to make sure that any kind of value can be gotten for it. When he finds the turret, but it has pulled out the sound barrier. Shatter does not land. The payload has been stalled out, and Prestige is playing this wonderfully, now putting out the Graviton Surge. However, Immortality Field keeps everyone alive but puts everyone at such low HP. Shatter lands. The health bars of Vendetta are so low, but the cleanup just is not there. Liberty Shadow finally manages to get a trade. Ghouls is gonna be dropping a lot of healing, gonna go down. XT carry gets the trade out. It's 30 seconds left for Vendetta to get the full push, but once again, they're forced to regroup.
9 times out of 10, that grab dragon combo that came out there from Takari and Orford, 9 times out of 10, that completely cleans up a team. But Sunday, again, just massive immortality fields coming out. Ultimately, you know, in a losing effort, but it wasn't because of the grab dragon.
Indeed, Coalescence comes on out, Immortality Field does as well. Liberty Shadow now off to the Doomfist. Both of the dragons, the dueling dragons, fight 1 pick each. Daniel finds 2 just with the normal arrows. 4 players for Vendetta still on point. However, we are right at the spawn. The reinforcements can come back so quickly. Grab comes in. Hardshard Zarya picks up DPS Anna. Now you only have Tunde on the loose to just try and get back. The Meteor Strike comes on out. And most of the players from Vendetta have got such low HP. This Molten Core denying so much space, and with this Sound Barrier, this is going to be one hefty fight to even still get the full push going. And Smurfyax with the charge gets 1 kill, but leaves the point.
Oh.
So that will not be a full push, but still
so unlucky.
A hefty amount of distance.
That was so unlucky for Smurfyax. Like, in any other scenario, that's the right play. You take out the Reinhardt, you get the free shatter. It's just no one was there to help. All the dubstep beats hitting the Molten Core had dwindled the Sigma, a couple other players down so low, and really just set it up to where Valor Prestige could just kind of chill, sit there contesting, just barely contesting, just enough to keep it from fully touching. And all the while, you know, not much can really be done on the side of Vendetta. So just great ult awareness, great stuff coming out on the side of Valor Prestige to finish that fight. But the thing I love most about watching these higher level teams play is how, you know, a common thing you'll see in a scenario like we saw in that final fight, you've got 6 ultimates basically coming online for each side. In some lower level matches, you would be often seeing, you know, 12 ults just all simultaneously pressed at once. In Console's case, simultaneously pressing Y. And here we see a little bit more patience, a little bit more staggering. The comms are a little bit more coordinated. And you see a definite higher level of play and a difference here that I think really just overall lends itself to this being, you know, a very close match.
I mean, that is the key to victory: ultimate economy, ultimate usage. Even if you've got 6 ultimates at the ready, that does not mean you need to use all of them. However, we're going to be seeing Valor Prestige on their attack with a very classic brawl composition. May Reaper.
Yes.
On the other side, Double Shield, who also with a Reinhardt. Got the McCree, the Torbjorn, a nice wall already. Does not really manage to zone anyone off just yet. They did put the Reinhardt of the defense for a bit of a loop. 1 tick has already been given up just by way of positioning. Valor Prestige is still playing it safe. A very early Immortality Field. That's going to be a little green light here for Valor Prestige to try and push in. As Smurfyax is dropping low, drops dead. Dubstep beats as well, however, it gets taken out. A lot of chunk damage denied, but it seems like the damage has been done. Such an early Coalescence comes on through, and now it's just the Torbjorn on point. Even with the overload, that will not be enough armor that you've got to deny that push. So that will be a very early point A grab.
I really like the Maywalls coming out from Daniel Orford so far this fight. One thing I noticed about him is that while they didn't immediately or directly wall anybody off, what they actually did is they forced Vendetta to decide: we either stay contesting and become not grouped up, or we have to back off and become grouped up. And what that does is it forces a decision to be made on the side of that team, and it allowed for Valor Prestige to really just continue to position themselves more squarely on the point, allowed for cleanup on the tanks of Smurfx and Cosmic, and from there really just puts the fight firmly on the side of Valor Prestige.
Talking about good walls, that's Cosmic just denied to go back. As just the Graviton Surge pulls everyone together, and even the Immortality Field is not enough to keep everyone alive. Valor Prestige very valiantly moving on forward over to this next checkpoint.
And they are, you know, a little bit behind so far in the ult economy at the moment. A lot of ultimates coming online for Vendetta at the moment. But you'll notice at the beginning of this, Orford using his wall to get up top, going for a interesting positioning here with the Mei. Obviously going to go for a big freeze here. And that could really shut down a lot of these ults before they even begin and allow for an even bigger snowball than Vendetta had here on this second stint.
The big flux comes on through, so does indeed the Blizzard. Dubstep Beats, however, gets denied that Death Blossom, and with this Molten Core, that is a lot of space negated for Valor Prestige, and Vendetta just pulled this one on back.
They absolutely did, and phenomenal use of ultimates to ultimately win the fight, to mitigate the damage that the Blizzard was going to do. They did have to commit a fair bit to that fight in order to succeed. They are still ahead in the ult advantage, though, so ultimately you have to consider that a very solid win. It also stops the snowball, which was something that Vendetta was able to take advantage of, and now they're, you know, defending that and not allowing that on defense. So definitely, you know, tide shifting in favor of Vendetta here on this map.
As the Shatter comes on in, only puts the Reaper on the floor, so not that much damage done just yet. The turret gets taken out for the Torbjorn, Aqua Turtle, and Smurfy with a bit of a brawl going on. The hammers are swinging, but Smurfy will be dropping. 2 picks, however, for Vendetta, but with no shield up, that's going to be a Shatter landing, but there's no follow-up, no kills coming on out. And now with the Graviton Surge, there's going to be a chance for Aqua Turtle to try and get some damage on. Doesn't manage a nice counter bash. It's Turtle on the floor, and once again, the defense holding.
And as noted earlier, this is shifting, when you look at the ult economy, this is shifting even more in favor of the defense now, as these things are often want to do. You know, it takes a lot more expenditure of resources to move something forward than to hold something in place. At least in Overwatch, I've often found that to be the case, and we're seeing that here, where it's allowing for Vendetta to build up some nice ultimates that will continue to zone Valor Prestige off the point and ultimately prevent their brawl comp in Aqua Turtle and Carry from doing what they want to do.
Oh, nice combo. The Gravitic Flux with the High Noon picks up 1 kill, picks up Doc Thanatos. It's going to be Lucio, no speed boost, no extra healing. Also pulls out the Coalescence here from Ghouls. Valor Prestige is kind of scrambling to keep this fight going, it seems.
It really does. A bit of a thrown out ult there from Smurfx. That's going to help the attack a little bit. And now a nice, that Hanzo ult zones very well there.
As a splitting dragon, Immortality Field also comes down, gets taken out, but the Molten Core once again, such good zoning here from the defense, and Prestige just not managing to find the foothold that they're looking for.
And it's so hard to break through here. You've got these 2 corners which are providing all kinds of pathways, all kinds of line of sight that Vendetta is able to take advantage of. You know, Zames on the Torbjorn is able to put his turret in places that are going to allow for early detection of flanks, as well as, you know, providing a good bit of output of damage onto those flanking heroes. You know, Daniel Orford on the Hanzo going to be looking to, you know, hit flanks to get those shots through the double shield of Vendetta. So ultimately, this Torbjorn really lends itself to preventing that.
It's going to be an aggressive sound barrier to just be able to get the push on in. Bob comes in as well in the backline, very well placed. 1 turret taken down, 3 men on the floor from the Shatter. However, it is not once again getting any follow-up. Immortality Field keeps everyone alive. Liberty Shadow has done the damage once more. And this is Vendetta. Very strong hold so far. 30 seconds on the clock and barely one more fight that Valor Prestige can pull out of this.
Vendetta has just done such an excellent job. Once they finally got the stop here on defense, they've done such an excellent job of mitigating the damage that Valor Prestige has the potential to do. You know, Hanzo has a ton of advantage on the flank. They're running a good Torbjorn that's positioning turrets in a way that prevents that flank from occurring without Vendetta knowing. I mean, there's just all these other things. It's allowed them to maintain a huge ult advantage on defense.
Dragon comes in through main, however, once again, the Gravitic Flux with the High Noon picks up Doc Thanatos once again. The Lucio is getting so unlucky in those combos as a Molten Core comes on through. I'm getting a bit of a sense of deja vu here in this fight, but this will be UDG Vendetta picking up the victory on King's Row, making this a 2-1 score.
And that's 2 back-to-back wins now coming out for Vendetta. You know, the momentum definitely on their side. They seem to be riding the wave, as it were. And I mean, even with the great play we saw from the Brawl comp that came out from Valor Prestige, it just ultimately it got shut down uh, by the position of the map, the hero picks that were coming out for the defense. Again, Sunday on the Baptiste, really just providing a ton of value. I really liked the amplification matrix placement there at the end there, so that they could ultimately uh, provide healing to the team while still being able to do DPS whenever possible. So ultimately, just some really smart play, great ultimate usage coming out from Vendetta, and a great hold there on that second stint.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was a very good play here from Vendetta, being able to get a very good hold after Valor Prestige managed to get some very aggressive and very early fights in. And it very much seemed like a Valor Prestige was looking to get a quick cleanup, but Vendetta denied that entirely, not even getting the second capture point. So very well played from the defense for Vendetta to clear that one out. However, now we've had a couple of maps. That means that we will be taking a short break to just maybe to recollect ourselves, take this time to make sure to follow naturally everything that is going on, and grab yourself one more drink, grab yourself a snack, and with that, indeed, we're gonna be right back. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a moment. Hello and welcome back to Season 5 of Elo Hell's GitGud Tournament, where we are watching the Xbox Senior Division battling it out. Valor Prestige versus UDG Vendetta. And at the moment we have Vendetta with a 2-1 lead. And looking to clear this one out as we head into match point on Volskaya Industries. I will be your play-by-play caster, Belly, and with me is still Hamwell on the color seat. And we've seen some very close games so far, but this King's Row game that we've seen last became a bit less close.
It did. It was definitely a bit of a turning point, I guess you could say, for Vendetta. It looked very, every match was very down to the wire, very close, overtime, barely making it. And there we saw a very strong defense on King's Row from Vendetta, able to stop Valor Prestige before their second, I believe the second checkpoint, like right there at
Yeah.
that alleyway choke, which is so hard. I mean, you stop the snowball, it's so hard to break that. And I mean, Valor Prestige just didn't have an answer, and meanwhile, Vendetta seemed to have all the answers for the comp that Prestige was running. So ultimately, I think this could be possibly a turning point for the map. We could see Vendetta start to run away with it. That being said, I would never count out Valor Prestige at this point. We've seen too much overall just ability from the likes of Dubstep Beats, Daniel Orford to carry, Aqua Turtle on the Reinhardt, the supports. We do have a sub, it looks like, coming in on support. I just noticed that for Valor Prestige. Dippity, which I don't believe we've said yet, but Dog Thanatos, a mainstay so far of the support line, and we've seen great play coming out from them. So you can't rule them out. This could easily be a 2-2 going into map 5. We'll have to see how Volskaya plays out. I think to me it's very similar to King's Row in a lot of ways with the chokes and styles. So I feel like that could lend itself to Vendetta, but it's just a wait and see sort of mentality right now.
Dippity indeed coming in exchange for ghouls. And I mean, compared to King's Row and Rialto, which, as I mentioned earlier, are those dynamic objectives, we are back on a static objective. However, what's not going to be static is Zames, who's going to just head on over to the high ground, as the Farmers is also in the air. Once again, the Hanzo from Vendetta just getting those picks, getting those headshots. Farah has gotten taken out, but the rest will come on through. Alucard is back to fight, and Vendetta looking to clear this out. As I say that, Alucard does get taken out once again. First stick has been given up by the defense, and Valor Prestige is trying to hold on to this point for now. Dog Thanatos drops. There's going to be one hefty fight to just even try and recontest the point. Aqua Turtle drops down as well, and this will be 1 point captured and a massive 6-minute time bank to get point B.
That was a huge attack, and all really on the back of Zames, who's now going to have That Dragon Strike online too, ready to really lay waste to these points here, which is so great for a zoning here on these 2 CPs, especially once you get the fight started. But dueling amplification matrices, you love to see it.
Shatter does not land on anyone. Gonna be another fire strike, doesn't find anyone either. Now, once again, a bit of a waiting fight. UDG Vendetta still has the dragon, however, Valor Prestige coming up to a fair few things. What they're not coming up to is an Immortality Field. Deputy drops down. Gravitic Flux comes down as well. That's 2 more picks. Both of the tanks. The rest of the defense drops down. Deputy is going to be swapping over to the Mora to try and just get the recontest. Get that Wraith form, get that charge in, but doesn't manage to make it. And that is a massive 5-minute and 7-second time bank for UDG Vendetta to get the full push here on Volskaya.
I'm in shock. That was absolutely uncharacteristic of what we've seen so far this series. That was clearly one-sided on the side of Vendetta. I mean, Zames on the Hanzo, completely uncontested. It's so wild to me that Zames was just able to pop off like that, honestly, because that's to me what a lot of that was just huge picks coming into the fight on point A, huge picks throughout the fight on point B. Alucard on the Pharah, I mean, when you've got one DPS popping off and getting those angles and those kills like Zames is, it really makes Alucard's job easy to get those picks, and vice versa. It's one of those things where it's it's a vicious cycle where, you know, if one DPS is popping off, it's creating space for the other DPS, and then soon you've just got this unstoppable force, and that's exactly what we saw in a 5-minute 7-second time bank is all you need to validate that mentality, basically.
I mean, an unstoppable force is definitely what you could call this this initial fight. That was a massive push here from UDG Vendetta, but now the tables turn. It's going to be their job to try and hold on to the point with their defense. Valor Prestige, a fair bit of chunk damage coming out and a fair bit of damage potential. It's going to be the question whether they'll be able to equalize out this time bank as well.
That's a tall order to try and equalize here. I mean, really, all you can really play it safe, not take a lot of risks right now if you're Vendetta, and ultimately that'll, you know, just naturally allow the time bank to be whittled down just throughout the process of all this. Meanwhile, though, to the game at hand, Daniel Orford and Aqua Turtle leading the charge. You do have dubstep beats on that Junkrat, something to notice there. That could provide a lot of huge value. I've always liked a Junkrat on Volskaya, but I like this flank they're taking this high ground. It's going to allow their Ashe a lot of room to work. It's going to set up high ground for Junkrat. I mean, really, it's a great enabling position for both DPS that Valor Prestige are running right now.
Taking that high ground position, taking those slow rotations, which can be very controlled and get you a very good fight win. As Alucard just gets caught out of position. Nice headshot from Daniel Ford to get those early picks, and this is where the picks start coming on through. Valor Prestige indeed looking to equalize this time back as well. It's not going to be really directly possible for as far as I'm aware, but they're definitely on a similar road to get some quick pushes coming on through.
Yeah, it'd be darn near impossible to get as quick of a point A take as Vendetta did. But that being said, 5.5 minutes starting out your point B attack, you get a good snowball. You're very much, you know, looking at, you know, possibly 4.5 minutes. You know, definitely competing there. And with those big time banks, really 30 seconds isn't going to make that much of a difference in the bigger scope of things, I'm imagining. But that all, you know, kind of is contingent upon a strong first attack here from Valor Prestige. They do have the ultimates online. Bob can cause a lot of trouble here on these 2 CP maps. Same with Dippity on that Coalescence, and we're going to see Bob early.
Coalescence indeed comes on through. Bob, as you mentioned as well, does not manage to make it to point, so Vendetta is just giving up that bit of space. With a nice bubble, however, as Murphy's just going to get taken out. The Shatter as well lands and drops a few players on the floor. One tick has been given up. Amplification Matrix now from on high. It's going to be a matter of trying to recontest. Zames trying to put the team on his shoulders. Picks up 1 kill, looking to get a few more. Sunda picks up the second, picks up the third, and with the Gravitic Flux, that is going to be the attack thwarted. Valor Prestige having to move back, having to regroup, having to think about the strategy once again.
And honestly, in any other circumstances, that would be a very strong first attack. coming out from Valor Prestige. But when you're looking at a 5-minute, 7-second time bank, even getting those 2 ticks, now, that mountain that you have to climb in your overtime inevitably, you're literally just building that mountain higher for yourself as time goes on. So, these tech seconds and these minutes, hopefully not, are going to feel very crucial for Valor Prestige going into this next attack.
What can be very painful is we've got a Graviton Surge and a Tire at the ready to carry, looking to put that one in. Does die in the process, and Mortality Field keeps everyone alive. Tire in the back picks up 2 more. That is some massive damage coming on through. Zames does get the pick onto the Mercy. We've got the Valkyrie from DPS Anna still up, as Alucard is trying to pop the Tire. But this will be indeed the full push from Valor Prestige as well. However, we do have 1:40 in the difference in the time bank.
And 1:40 could be a lot worse if you're Valor Prestige, but ultimately a very strong attack. Both teams showing a bit more proficiency in the attacking side of things versus the defense. But ultimately, only 1:40, 2 minutes still, based on the way these point A's went for both teams, I think we're definitely looking at, a possibility for maybe extra innings in the overtime. At the very least, I imagine both sides are going to be capping, getting to 3 points, and the battle is really going to be on point B, because both teams really just demonstrating strong, aggressive level of play on point A that really just led to huge time banks. And now, with these changes, we are seeing it a little bit lower, but the difference is still definitely there and definitely felt.
The difference is absolutely felt. Vendetta just with ever so slightly a bit of a higher time bank than Valor Prestige, who now have 2 minutes to try and get as many, to try and get both points, but just to try and get as far as they can. And the defense, kind of swapping it out, double shield, but now putting out the Reaper on the field. So an interesting pick to say the least.
I really think the Reaper, the Reinhardt, and the Brigitte really all play really well with each other. You throw in Zames on that Hanzo, getting a ton of value, and this is going to be a very strong defense coming out from Vendetta. Meanwhile, though, that Doomfist, if you can get that one shot off on the Hanzo, I mean, you're taking Hanzo out of the fight early. That's going to allow Daniel Orford on the Ashe. We saw a lot of pop-off on that first attack here on point A from the Ashe player for Valor Prestige. So, Dubstep, if he can get a very crucial pick on either a squishy target for Vendetta or possibly even Zames, but we're seeing Zames already. Ooh!
Oh, and that is an important trade here. You take Zames out. This has been one of the main damage dealers here for Vendetta, and as the rest comes on in to get that second support back up, it's going to be very difficult on the defense to hold this. However, Alucard picks up 1 more kill, and the attack is still is on point. 60 seconds to go. As the announcement says, there's going to be 1 tick already given up, and the defense is trying to rotate, maybe getting a chance. Zames coming back with a pick onto the Mercy. Alucard is going straight into the back, gets a punch to the side. So Doomfist just comes on in, picks up a few more. Zames trying to get this cleared out. However, the 1 soul Arrowman, the 1 soul Bowman will not be enough to deny this attack.
Absolutely, that was really just strong finishing, strong focus fire coming out from Valor Prestige. You see dubstep beats popping up in that kill feed there at the end, really just securing these kills, whittling down the low targets, and ultimately using that nice cleave damage that Doomfist provides to finish off the kills. But Snowball, that's the name of the game here. Dippity with that Coalescence, that's going to provide, call it your entrance, and then possibly a Meteor Strike to seal off some kills. Zames, that's a huge pick early though. Dubstep beats getting value.
Critic Flux comes on, and Bob as well, going straight to points. Reflex though takes out Aqua Turtle, and as these points go, this is so much defense favored. You need to get a higher trade out, and as Vendetta are picking up a few more kills, the reinforcements will be able to get back faster. You have Daniel, who's on the floor by way of the Shatter. However, the Fallout does not seem to be directly needed. Nobody will be really able to touch the point. It will actually be the Valkyrie. It will also be Deputy in the backline. Even the Mercy will get taken out. Doomfist comes on back, gets denied that space. Overtime will start ticking down. And that will indeed be UDG Vendetta denying that second point capture. However, Valor Prestige did manage to pick up 1/3 more point.
It's very true, and that's honestly that gives you a chance at taking the win here to tie this up. A full hold, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to do some massive adjustments defensively, just based on what we've seen from both these teams. But that being said, you've given yourself a window to do it. You'd obviously like to have at least gotten some progress on point B, but sometimes that's not always possible. Really, it's just been. I mean, I keep coming back to Zames on this map. Zames is getting a
Mhm.
ton of value. When Zames goes down early in that final fight there at overtime, Zames comes back as the Sombra. That eliminates a lot of the ability usage that you would use to try and contest a point in that scenario. If you're Valor Prestige, I mean, sadly, Dubstep Beast doesn't even really make it to the point before being promptly dispatched. But had Dubstep Beats on the Doomfist made it there, the Sombra would have pretty quickly, sawn into that, hacked sitting there. We saw the Valkyrie trying to contest at the end. Hack comes through, allows to secure the kill. Valor, Mercy can't escape the way she typically would be able to, and that just kind of, it's great when you have confidence in your team to do their jobs. It's great to be able to switch to that Sombra. But meanwhile, Zames back on the Hanzo. You've got Alucard on that pharmacy. That could provide a lot of problems. However, Daniel Warford on the Ashe and Dubstep Beats on the Bastion, they should be more than up to the challenge of taking out a pharmacy duo between the two of them.
That indeed looking to clear this one out. Keep in mind, this is match point. It is first to 3. Vendetta already have 2 points on the board. Indeed, a heavy bunker with the Bastion on the defense. It's definitely a hefty bunker to have to fight through. As now indeed the rotation comes on in. We've got Vendetta on the high ground to just try to deny that space for the bunker to set up. And Mortality Field has already gotten taken out for the offense. Now he's going to be taking it safe here as a bit of an attempt at a crossfire is done, but still a slow push. So as I say that, Alucard picks up 1, picks up a 2nd. And this is the defense potentially dwindling here in numbers. Aqua Turtle goes for a very hefty charge, takes out Cosmic with them. However, that takes out one of the shields as T Carry gets taken out, forced out of that bunker position. This is going to be 2.5 minutes for Vendetta to get the full push.
That is going to be tough right now if you're Valor Prestige. Vendetta, masters of their own fate at the moment, possibly able to take this series now with a 3-1 victory. Great positioning coming out from Vendetta. They realize there's a Bastion. They maneuver themselves to where Bastion isn't getting the range to set up and do that DPS, really eliminating that bunker coming out from Valor Prestige, and just an excellent read coming out from Vendetta there on that attack. They play it nice and slow. They weather the storm, and they're there and they get the picks and push when they need to. And now they've got nice ultimates online. Watch out for Alucard with that barrage. That could be the fight clincher here.
The accretion from Cosmic denies the rest of that coalescence. Alucard in the back picks up T-Carry as the Immortality Field has already gotten down and the damage seems to have gotten done, and that is one tick given up, and Vendetta clear it out with a 3rd point here on Volskaya. Barrage is not needed. Does get a celebratory little damage done there. And that will indeed be Vendetta clearing it out and grabbing the victory in this series.
That was almost anticlimactic at the end there, though, because, I mean, the barrage was coming online, but really just great individual sort of play coming out from Vendetta to ultimately seal off that fight. And, I mean, just props to them. This was 2 teams that were very evenly matched, and once they figured out what they needed to do, that being Vendetta, they were able to really press the advantage, and that's when you saw the real difference start to happen here on this series, I believe. But even so, both teams incredibly evenly matched. I think, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I believe that momentum is super important, and I think we saw a prime example of that there in this series.
And with that, indeed, Vendetta does manage to pick up their victory. We're going to be taking a short break to set everything up. But before we do, I'm going to have to, on stream, and you, Hamal, as well, just leave you alone for just 1 second. I need to grab something very important to not deprive the Xbox watcher for this, or our producer. So just I'll be right back.
A bit of a surprise. Uh-oh. I think I know what's coming. There we
Got the kitty.
go.
We have our mascot.
Yes.
We have our Ruby, the mascot for Elo Hell Overwatch. And she's like, I want to sleep, please leave me alone. Always at the ready to provide some extra support.
I guess cats are just like they have two settings. They're either leave me alone, I'm trying to sleep, or full tilt 24/7 energy. There's no middle,
Yeah.
I guess. It's just what are the other?
There is one middle, and that is please give me all the cuddles ever.
Ah,
However, indeed, with that, we had the kitty, we had the mascot, we had a very, very good game that Vendetta eventually got the victory for.
indeed.
So with that, as I said, we're going to be taking a bit of a break to be able to set up for the next matchup. So make sure to stick around. Make sure to send get your follows in, because we're not done yet. We're only just getting started. So we're going to be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.